Hi, it's Fran from Living Your Greatest Life. Just going to make a video regarding parental alienation, but more specifically, the fact that many parents report that they didn't actually know what was happening to them until it was too late, or specifically what was happening to their children until it was too late. Some of the most obvious things that another parent would recognize or see more quickly are things like quite serious lies and false allegations. They are the types of things that parents would recognize, and they would be like, oh gosh, what's happening here? Which is, sends utter panic of being accused of various things, more commonly abuse, and other different types of things, which are all kind of engineered by the toxic parent on the other side. So they're the sorts of things that people would see and look at and recognize straight away. And that's some of the more kind of serious, hardcore things which are easy to be seen and also easily recognized by other people who are maybe not so familiar with parental alienation or targeting of parents. They may not be so familiar with the whole thing, but those kinds of things would spark an interest and obviously raise a lot of concern. Another thing which is very serious, but it's more frog in a pan kind of thing. So it probably happens a bit before you actually notice it, because it can be done in a very clever way. So denying parent time. Now, this may not be as simple as an obvious move like breaking a contact order, as in you were due to see your children on Saturday and that didn't happen. Very often, there will be other things put in place to make it look like a bona fide reason. And that could range from anything of the other parent going sick, or it could be something like, oh, we have a family meal to go to, or it could be a simple case of the child is waiting for something to be delivered. And so therefore the other parent, the targeted parent, doesn't get to spend that time with their child. So all these kind of things, which could be, depending on the level and character of the other parent, the targeting parent, it could be a number of different things and appear in a different way depending on the situation. That could also include, not bringing the children back when they said they would or at the agreed time, or in some cases, taking the children away, leaving the other parent ringing and ringing and not knowing where they are. And I'm not talking about fully absconding with the children, but just sort of making the other person sweat and wonder what's happening because there isn't any contact. It really seems like a inconceivable thing for people who, maybe they've been divorced and they can't see eye to eye, and that's clearly why they are divorced. But it seems like it doesn't seem like it could be possible, but believe me, it is possible. And those people who are watching this who can resonate with that, understand that, will know it's very, very possible. And for the targeted parents, it sometimes feels like maybe they become, maybe they feel like they're overthinking things, and very often that person will check up against their friends and family and say, well, look, does this sound a bit like crazy to you? Because they're little things over and over again, but like the pattern isn't necessarily recognized until later. It just looks like a difficulty within the parenting. Another thing which is sort of denying parent time is, for example, excluding parents from the other person excluding the other parent from things such as things like sports day, parents' evening, and those sorts of things. So although um, as a parent, we all have or should have rights to access this information, sometimes not all schools are very good at disseminating that information, and those events can be lost. So really, it's up to the parent with care to inform the other parent, and very often that doesn't happen, and that's for a deliberate reason. It's done deliberately, and of course, in the case of targeted or alienated parents, the alienated child is not only losing the other parent, but is losing their whole friends and family, anybody that's connected with that targeted parent. So it's not just that the parent's losing out, anybody connected with that child is put on the back burner, until the point at which, in some cases, adults that have been alienated children have looked at pictures of their family and they have no clue who they are. And that is really sad. Another issue is like denying phone contact, cutting off calls quickly, not having enough time, or saying to the child, oh, look, we've got to go and do this. And so making it look like the child wants to actually leave that call. Monitoring phone calls. I've heard of several cases where children have actually had their phone monitored, or even taken from them and hidden so that they can't have that communication. And that's also very sad. But all of these things, I think if people can recognize them really early, they may have an option to do something differently. And it sounds quite simple, doesn't it? That if you're in that situation and those things are happening, that you would know that straight away. Well, actually, because of the kind of dynamics and the intensity of it all, it's only sort of after certain events that maybe people become more aware. And obviously, if they haven't discussed this with anybody and they're in the early stages, they might not have a clue what's going on. They just know that they've got a difficult ex-partner. The massive thing is brainwashing the child not to like the other partner, the other parent. So a parent may say publicly, oh, and support contact with dad. Dad's really good. You want to see dad. But actually, maybe making a lot of sort of snidey undertones and remarks. For example, so dad wasn't able to go to sports day because I don't know, something happened and he had to work. He could not get that time off. And mum might say, well, there, see, your dad doesn't care about you. I knew they wouldn't come. Just little marks like that, and disparaging marks against the other party. And at the end of the day, it would be nice to think that people would stop doing this for the sake of their children. But actually, I don't think people have an awareness of the damage that does to their children. And if they do, they certainly don't care. So yeah, just a few things to be able to recognize how this slow sort of it's a bit like emotional abuse, like a frog in a pan thing, and it's very, very slow. And then before you know it, that's where you are. So spread the word, keep safe, and stay positive. And I'll see you in my next video.